being here today.
Great. Thank you, Lisa. And I hope everybody realizes that what we've assembled here is a great team for helping you age positively. So with that, our final presenter, Jeremy, if you'd unmute. And Jeremy Nachtigall is the founder and principal of Daily Navigator LLC, a daily money management firm, not a financial advisor. And Jeremy will talk about that, what the difference is, that provides a variety of administrative, logistical, and financial concierge services to seniors and their families. He earned a BA in economics at Fairleigh Dickinson and a certificate of financial planning. Jeremy got into this by having cared for his mother with ALS and is empathetic to the complexities of caring for a loved one in need. He spent nearly 2 decades on Wall Street before founding Daily Navigator. And after his mom passed, he knew that his professional skills, personal insights, and experience as a financial family caregiver could help others navigate their own similar situations. Jeremy is also a member of the American Association of Daily Money Managers. Although I've known Jeremy a lot less time than Laurie and Lisa to date, we work closely on a lot of projects, including his website. And I'm pleased to call him a friend. And the funny thing is, real quick, is that we finally met for the first time face-to-face 2 weeks ago, after working together for almost a year. So with that, Jeremy, please introduce Daily Navigator and what a daily money manager is.
Thanks, Barry. So just to sidebar for a minute, we also found out that not only is Barry like a brother from another mother, and not to take away from Laurie's sister from another mister, but Barry lives on the same street that I grew up on, and where I actually took care of my mom for 5 years when she had ALS. So yeah, so thanks for the introduction. I appreciate that, and I consider you a friend as well. And you did a phenomenal job on my website. And I'm happy to be able to talk to everybody today about what a daily money manager is. And a number of you know who I am and what I do. And if there's a question, I'll answer the question about that. I'm not a financial advisor. I don't buy stocks and bonds for clients. I don't advise clients on the different types of investments they should buy. I can provide, and I do provide, some guidance, but that's not really my wheelhouse. What I do is I help the elder community and their adult children, and I'll also help younger individuals, busy professionals, people who are divorced in some type of life transition. And I will help them manage their day-to-day essential financial obligations, paying their bills, dealing with the utility companies, spending hours on the phone with these companies. I've done this with my clients, and I'm sure you've all done this too. I see Lois is chuckling a little bit. We've spent many hours together on the phone, Lois. So these are the types of things that I do. As far as how I come into play as part of the team with, say, Laurie and Lisa, I'll put all of this stuff together. When you're dealing with somebody who is unable to take care of themselves, or if it's difficult to take care of them, or if you're a busy professional, preparing yourself for the future is a full-time job. Getting your documents is a full-time job. Laurie requires certain documents in order for her to do her area of expertise, which is legal practice, obviously. And Lisa also needs help in dealing with her clients. I'm the person that comes in and I will organize and get everybody's ducks in order, so to speak. As far as items like guardianship, Laurie mentioned sometimes that her clients have to file for guardianships. Well, guardianships require annual accounting. Somebody has to do the accounting, and people usually don't want to do it. So what they'll do is they'll hire somebody like me to do that accounting work for a guardianship. Similarly, Lisa may have a family that she's working with, and she is acting as a geriatric care manager. Well, that's fine, and families need that, but then somebody else needs to handle the financial aspect of the care. So when somebody says to me, well, aren't you a geriatric care manager, or isn't that what a geriatric care manager does? There's a little bit of an overlap, but geriatric care managers are dealing more with the health aspect of somebody's care, whereas a daily money manager will deal with more of the financial aspect. That could include budgeting. It could include interfacing with a long-term care insurance company. These are the types of things that I get involved with my clients to make their lives easier, less complicated, and help them to age positively. I think that's really all I have to add.
Okay, great. Thank you, Jeremy. So at this point, we do have some other discussion items, but if anybody has a question that they'd like to ask of particular interest, feel free to, or while you're thinking, I'll bring one up that hopefully our panelists, I'm sure, will be able to address. But in the meantime, think about something that you may want to ask. Here's one. I live out of state, and over the past 4 to 5 months, I've had to travel to New Jersey at least once a month to put out fires. My mom's memory is not what it was, and she lives alone in the home that I grew up in West Orange. What can I do to help her before something really bad happens? Lisa or Jeremy or?
Well, I was gonna jump in and say, well, let's get together and have a meeting. We need to talk about what your current situation is and what your financial situation is. And I'm going to immediately defer to a professional like Lisa and or Laurie, because something needs to be done so that we can get some control on what's going to be happening. You want to add to that, Lisa or Laurie?
Yeah, sure. So the way, if this is presented to me, which is actually a very common set of facts, no one, oftentimes, someone who has memory issues or cognitive impairment, it doesn't just appear, all of a sudden. It's oftentimes a process. And I think especially what we've all been going through over the past year and a half, we haven't had the chance to spend as much time with, our older adult loved ones, or, that we might want to. So the changes that might have been gradual, or they're happening more often, then that's where we want to get together. And what I would do is I would actually, do an assessment. So I would go to the person's home and I would be looking at everything. I'd be looking at the physical environment to determine if there are any fall risks or if there are any opportunities for like I can't think of the word, but like a structural, like maybe we can put in chair lifts, or maybe the bathroom needs to be safe, made safer. Maybe there's rugs all over the place or furniture and someone's trying to navigate a walker. So, I'm looking at the physical environment to make sure that there are no hazards. I'm looking at the medical situation. So I'm looking at whether or not someone is, who are their medical providers, what kind of doctors, when was the last hospitalization, when was the last time they went to the doctor, what are their medications, are they taking their medications? And we can kind of tell that. Are any medications conflict with one another? Are they going to multiple providers? I had a client once who, after we had a meeting and the consult and did the assessment, when it was over, the daughter emailed me the next day and she goes, my dad's been an alcoholic my whole life and I never knew it. And so oftentimes kind of that non-family member, that non-emotional person can look at the situation objectively and try to provide some guidance. So I'm looking at medical, I'm looking at the environment, I'm looking at their insurance opportunities. Do they have long-term care insurance? Do they have health insurance? Do they have a secondary plan with Medicare? Why or why not? We might be facing some sort of a penalty period. So I won't get too much into that. Are they a candidate for public entitlements in the home or in a facility? Are they a veteran? So I'm looking at everything as far as planning opportunities, in that sense, with insurance, financial. I don't ask about their account information, but I do want to make, if they're going to be self-insuring, I want to know what's there. Or again, are they a candidate where they need to do some planning to make sure that, if they do need to, go to long-term care, that it'll be covered. And then legal. So I'm looking at, when I meet with a new family and they on board with me, whether it's, doing an assessment or, whatever, I'm looking at their power of attorney and their healthcare proxy. So I'm not concerned with their will. That's for after they're gone. I think that's what Laurie was talking about. We want to make sure that people are living well, and if substitute decision makers need to be appointed, we want to make sure that they get in sooner. So, the bar in New Jersey is pretty low as far as when it comes to being able to sign a healthcare proxy, advance directive, or financial durable power of attorneys. However, there, at some point, an attorney, and Laurie can maybe speak to this, I think this would be something really important. The attorney's not going to take on that responsibility. So we really want to be able to catch a person in that stage. So just because a person has dementia doesn't mean that they can't make decisions for themselves as to who they want to act for.
Or execute documents. They could still have, the diagnosis itself is not an impediment, correct?
Correct. But we want to be very sensitive to a timeline. We want to be very diligent about, who's being appointed and not do it like this. I looked at a power of attorney document for one of my clients going back about a month, and I said, who is Christy? I said to the health care power of attorney, the proxy, I said, who is Christy, the secondary person who was the successor? Okay. She goes, that's a veterinarian I'm going to say Jane's cat. And I'm like, wait, what? And they're like, well,
Never heard that one.
The attorney made a mistake and we were just looking for someone to put in there. And I'm like, well, does Christy even know this person or have any? So, having me look at that as kind of a pre-attorney type thing, pre-visiting the lawyer type thing, then made the visit with their attorney that much more meaningful. And we identified really a lapse that this is a person with Lewy body, which is a form of dementia. And so, there's like I said, that window was going to close. So I'm looking at all these different kind of opportunities to coordinate care, pay for care, take stress off of the caregivers. Maybe they're going to end up, needing to move to an assisted living or memory, again, even helping them understand the difference between the memory care portion and the regular portion of an assisted living and what